Hi, how are you? How are you? Okay, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first time coming to this, and I feel so at home. Listening to all of the music and seeing all of you here reminds me of home. Home for me is in Austin, Texas. So coming here with this nice weather, luckily today, has been really nice. For those of you that don't know my story, I'm Lizzie. Nice to meet you. I was born with a very rare syndrome that doesn't allow me to gain weight. I was my parents' firstborn. 6 weeks before my due date, my mom went in to have an ultrasound, and they said, "Your daughter has stopped growing. We need to take her out immediately." As first time parents, they were scared, but being the faithful people that they are, they knew that God was putting the right child in their life. So they had the C section. The doctors have no idea how I came out screaming because there was no amniotic fluid around me. I came out screaming. I was only 2 pounds, 10 ounces. So small that my parents had to go to Toys R Us and buy doll clothes because the regular baby clothes were way too big on me. The doctors told my parents, we've never seen a child like this. And at the time, almost 30 years ago now, there wasn't a medical book or an online search that they can look up and say, this is what your daughter has. So instead of giving my parents hope, the doctor said, she will never be able to walk, talk, she won't be able to crawl. You're gonna have to feed her. She's gonna need your help the rest of her life. Again, first time parents, you would think they would have said, why God, why us? But instead they said, okay, we're gonna take her home and we're gonna love her and we're gonna raise her to the best of our abilities. My mom was working at a daycare when I was born, and after I was born, decided that she was going to stay home to take care of me. My dad was a very brand new bilingual teacher for elementary kids at the time. My mom didn't want me to grow up feeling like I was different from anyone else. So while she stayed home with me, she started babysitting my cousin, who was the same age as me, and one of my now, I call her first best friends. We met when we were both 6 weeks old. My mom did this so that I could grow up seeing that I was just like everybody else. And it was incredible. I physically didn't know that I was different until I started kindergarten. On the first day, I went in so excited, so happy, wearing all of my Pocahontas clothes, and I thought this is going to be great. That first day was when I realized that I don't look like everybody else. And I couldn't understand why nobody wanted to talk to me. No one wanted to play with me. And they were scared of me. I didn't understand. Of course, my parents knew something like this was going to happen. But instead of sending me in with fears of waiting and knowing it's going to be tough, they sent me in with encouragement and love and said, you're going to have the best day. After that, as I got older, my dad was a teacher at the time, and as I got older, every time I would see my dad in the hallway when I was walking from class to class, he went from just waving to say hi, to then doing a little dance, to then it got to a point where I would see my dad and he would do a cartwheel in the hallway. And it wasn't until a few years ago that it clicked. He was doing that because he knew that was the hardest part of my day, because that was when other kids would see me in the hall and stare at me. So every time he did that cartwheel, he took the eyes off of me and put it on him. My parents have been my foundation. My parents have been my foundation and my strength from literally day one. They raised my younger sister and my brother the exact same way. When I was in high school, I found a video accidentally on YouTube Someone called me the world's ugliest woman. The comments ranged from people saying, kill it with fire, to all of these other horrible things, calling me a monster. There's people who said, why didn't your parents abort you? Because when people see you, they're going to go blind from your ugliness. I was 17 years old when I found this. That day, I stayed curled up on the floor of my bedroom, crying, because I felt like I had worked so hard to bring up my confidence, for then, within a minute, it was all gone. My mom was the only one home with me at the time, and as you can imagine, she was very emotional when she found it. My dad came home, he walked in the room, and the very first thing he did was look me in the eyes and say, you have to forgive him, or her, whoever posted it. You have to forgive every single person that said something horrible. First thing I said was, are you crazy? No. How are you taking their side? Why am I going to forgive people who are saying that I should be dead? He said, and he explained, the three most important things in our life and what they have taught us is that it is our family, it is our faith, it is our family, and it is our friends. Those are the three most important things for us. And those were going to be the three things that was going to help me get over what I thought was going to be a hurdle I would never be able to overcome. I was raised in the Catholic faith and being very involved in our church, and I loved it. It was incredible. My faith journey started with my parents. It then became my journey when I became older. Once I was older, and after I found this video, the number one question that I asked God, and I asked every single day when I woke up, was why? Why me? Why is this happening? Fast forward many years later, graduated from college. I'm a motivational speaker, an author, and an anti-bullying activist. And I'm now able to use my voice not only for myself, but to use my voice for people who might not know or might not be able to use their own voice. We live in a world now that's very scary. There's a lot of things that we don't know. We live in a world where social media is something that is at our fingertips 24/7. If there are two things that I want to leave you with today, the first is knowing the power of forgiveness. It is something that can be so hard, but once you do it, it'll change everything. I promise you. The second thing is I asked why so many times and didn't realize that every single time I asked God why, I should have been saying, thank you. Thank you, because all of the horrible experiences I had, those were not bad things happening to me. Those were instances of me learning and knowing that God is doing everything in our lives to teach us to be stronger, to teach us to forgive, to teach us to love one another no matter what. So, thank you so much for having me, and know that when you leave here today, know that you're able to forgive, and know that anytime something hard comes into your life, don't say why, say thank you.